Well, I spoke to the agent and it seems like we're going to be going into a multi-offer situation. So we have to be really aggressive about what we're going to be offering. What I suggest that we offer is either at asking price or over, little to no closing costs, try to shorten down the inspection period, probably 10 days, maybe even less. And you know what the heck, let's remove the appraisal contingency. That's what I suggest we do.
That's a really good suggestion. Okay, let me think about it. Okay, I'm gonna offer $10,000 below asking price. I want the seller to pay all my closing costs. I want a 20-day inspection period, and no, I don't want to remove the appraisal contingency. Let's keep that. Sounds good?
Okay, we're gonna do that one time, okay? We'll just do this one time. But if we don't get the deal, you're gonna listen to me and what I say. Sounds good? Okay, let's do this. What's going on, everybody? This is Joel Piccolo with God Wanna Start Real Estate, your go-to source for anything real estate related in the state of Louisiana. I hope you enjoyed that little skit right there. I just wanted to add it to just make it a little bit fun instead of just me talking about what I'm gonna be talking about. So before we go into this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And make sure to share this video with any of your friends that are looking in the real estate market, because right now we're in a multi-offer market and this will be extremely beneficial to them. Alrighty, now if you've been in this real estate market, or if you're thinking about going into buy your first house or selling your house, you are looking to going into a multi-offer or a seller's market. Now let's go over the details of what the current market is looking like in the state of Louisiana. So here are 3 things that I want you to focus on when you're going into this real estate market. The first one is about the home sale prices. Home sale prices since last year have been going up and up and up. As of right now, we've seen a 13.3% increase since last year, which is crazy to think about. I mean, that is like amazing. So when you're looking at that, you have to really focus on that portion, especially when you're potentially going to be writing an offer, because sellers are going to have this mindset that they're not only going to get what they're going to ask for, but probably a little bit more. So that's the first thing that I want you to focus on. The next thing I want you to focus on is the low interest rates. So why is that kind of like a good thing and a bad thing? Good thing is that you can afford more than what you probably would if the interest rates were high. But also the bad thing is you have more competition. So more buyers are out there looking for that dream house or looking for your house. And last but not least, something that is a big problem is the low inventory. We haven't really seen these kind of numbers in the housing market since like the mid-2000s. That is an extreme problem because it makes it tough for buyers to be able to find a house. And not only that, but for sellers to think about selling their house, they're gonna worry about if they're gonna be able to find their house. So you're probably asking yourself, Joel, why the low inventory? Man, I really wanna find that house. The reason for that is simply one thing: sellers. Yes, everybody. A healthy real estate market requires people wanting to sell their house. And currently right now, there are 3 things that are stopping sellers from wanting to sell their house. The first thing that's affecting sellers from selling their house is the interest rate. Yes, the thing that is causing you to want to buy your first house is what's causing the sellers to not want to buy their house. I know that sounds kind of weird, but let me explain it a little bit. So if you are a seller and you are seeing these low interest rates and you love your home, well, I mean, if I love my home and I'm getting a low interest rate, why not refinance? Why not lower my mortgage so I can stay in my home? And maybe with refinancing, I can actually borrow off of what I have in equity in my home and use that to put into my house. The second reason that they're holding on to their homes is because what's the best way to say this, is that they are very uneasy on what's going on in the world. So sellers monitor politically. If we look at our current environment politically, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on politically, but with COVID going on right now, there's not that many jobs. So when you have a lot of volatility going on with politics and the job market, sellers tend to hold on so that they wait and make sure that everything kind of smooths and relaxes. And then once that happens, then they go into sell. And last but not least, the third reason why they are holding on to their homes is that they are worried about finding their next home. Yes, if they're gonna sell their house, well, they don't necessarily want to compete with all of these first-time home buyers or these out-of-state people who are now moving, who are now trying to buy a home, because that's a lot of competition. And you know what? It is scary to get your house under contract and not being able to find something that suits your needs. Okay, now that we've gone over the current market and why inventory is so low, let's go over why you are losing in multi-offer situations. To start it off, we're gonna go over what I call deal killers. So, what are deal killers? Deal killers are little things that you put into your contract or maybe offer that simply the seller's gonna reject immediately. Like, they're not even gonna take a look at it, because sometimes they tell the seller, selling agents, like, hey, if these contracts have this, this, and this, don't even accept it, like, don't even show it to me. So the first deal killer is something that is easy to start with, and that is lowballing people. Okay, if you're gonna go against somebody, do not lowball what the seller is asking for. That doesn't make sense. You're going to lose, because the next buyer, all they have to do is lowball higher than you. So you don't know where to start or like how low to go, because you're going against multiple people, and most of those people are either going to go at asking price or go over asking price. The second thing that is killing your deals is too many contingencies. And what do I mean by that? In the purchase agreement, they have what they call a appraisal contingency, which means that if the property doesn't appraise, or if it appraises lower than what you have under contract, then you are able to negotiate with the seller to lower the contract price. Now, don't get me wrong, the seller is not forced to lower the price. It's just you have an out to be able to get out of that contract. There's another contingencies, maybe if you're trying to sell your home and then buy the home, that's another contingency that can play into effect. There's also other contingencies too that, depending upon your situation, that you might need to add, like contingent upon you getting this or you getting that. It really just depends upon like your situation, like I said, and what you need. So too many contingencies is a bad thing, and you need to talk with your real estate agent on what you can be flexible with. So the third thing that some buyers do that I don't understand is having no pre-approval. Everybody, do not start looking at houses or like going to look at houses until you are pre-approved. It doesn't make sense. Because that's like you going to an auction house or you going to a store with no money. You know you're not gonna buy anything, so why even waste your time? Being pre-approved is what is going to be important, and the reason why you want to be pre-approved before you go into a multi-offer situation, because pre-approval process is not quick. It takes a couple of days, because you got to get your taxes, you got to get your W-2 forms, you got to get a lot of stuff together for the lender to be able to put it together and tell you what you can afford or not. The fourth thing that is a deal killer for a lot of buyers is either too long or too short of a closing period. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of these sellers, they want to close quickly. They want to get that money as soon as possible. If you're, as a buyer, if you're putting that the closing needs to happen in 2 months, well, that's 2 months that the seller has to wait for. Or let's say we got the opposite. Maybe the seller is fine with closing a little bit longer, or maybe the seller needs to find their house. So if you put it as too soon, then the seller is going to feel rushed and they're not going to choose your offer. So you want to make sure that you are determining and you're asking the agent what is a good closing time to be able to do that. The fifth thing that is killing your deals is repair requests. Yes, I do not understand why buyers or even agents will want to put repair requests in the beginning of the negotiations. You do realize there's an inspection period. You can do those kinds of things. Yes, you don't have to pick it out in the beginning. Wait, let the house get locked down first and then start the negotiations. Once you have it, because remember everybody, you are not a contractor. Well, maybe you are, but most of y'all looking for a house are not contractors. So the YouTube videos that you have watched does not make you an expert. So when you start making requests in the beginning, the seller is going to laugh at you or not take you serious, or even worse, think you're going to be difficult, so they're not going to accept your offer. So remember everybody, don't make repair requests in the beginning. Wait for the inspection period. The sixth thing that is killing your deals is multiple parties being involved. if you're making an offer on a property and the agent has to wait for multiple people to make a decision and the seller sees that with your offer, that might be a problem, because what if one of the buyers decides to back out? Well, then the deal falls apart. So when you're going in it, like let's say with an investment property and you're making deals, especially in this market, properties that need to be renovated are going like hotcakes. So you want to make sure that y'all determine it, like y'all can do multiple parties to finance it, but just make sure you have this one person who represents the whole entire party to make the decisions. It's just so much easier and it won't scare the sellers. The seventh thing that is killing your deals is a short expiration. If the selling agent tells you that, hey, we are not going to be looking at offers until such and such amount of time. The seller told me to tell y'all this. Do not put a shorter period of time than this. It is going to upset the seller and they will not look at your offer, even if it is a great offer. Because what that will tell them is that you are difficult. And you don't want sellers to think you are difficult. You want them to think that this is going to be an easy closing. You want them to be your friends. So making sure that you listen to what the seller wants and putting the necessary response time, alrighty? So don't do that. So the eighth thing that is killing your deals is a long inspection period. So you have to really determine and have an experienced agent with you to determine how long of an inspection period you need. And different factors can determine that, by the way. So if you have an experienced agent who has a good amount of resources to find inspectors to inspect the house, then you don't necessarily need the 12 to 14 days to inspect the house. I mean, they could probably get it immediately done and get in there. Or if you're buying a property that needs renovation, then bringing the contractors when you go look at the house is another way that you can negotiate on that inspection period, because you can already determine right there what you're going to be looking at. So those are ways that you can actually negotiate on the inspection period and reduce the length of the inspection period. So the ninth thing that is killing your deals is no deposit. Remember everybody, we live in Louisiana and we run by the Napoleonic Code. So to have an actual contract, you need a transfer of money. So that either is like taking your deposit and giving it to the listing broker, or taking the deposit and giving it to a third party, maybe a title company, to hold it. When it comes down to the deposit is extremely necessary and is another way of winning the deals. So, and what I mean by that is that the deposit from a seller's perspective, and I can tell you this because I'm a listing agent, is very, it allows the seller to know if you are serious about this house and if you can afford the house. If you're buying a $400,000 house and your deposit is $1,000, what that is telling me as a listing agent is that you probably cannot afford this house. I know that sounds weird, but that is just serious. I mean, it's really not that weird, because let's just say you are going to buy a car. I mean, if you put, the more money you put down, the more you lower your note, and it shows the car dealership that you can afford what you're trying to get. So the same thing with car dealerships is the same thing with houses. The more you put down in the beginning shows the seller how serious you are in the beginning. So having no deposit is killing your deals. So please make sure you change that. And the 10th and final reason that your deals are falling apart is you are not listening to your agent. Alrighty? So listen to them, especially if they are an experienced agent. They are trying to help you, alrighty? They know the ins and outs. They know the market. They know how to get the houses under contract. Remember, getting a house under contract is the first step, not the final step, which a lot of buyers believe. So listen to your agent, everybody, alrighty? So now that we've gone over the things that are killing your deals that you are doing, now let's go over something that a lot of buyers don't think about, because maybe it's not you, maybe it's your agent. So let's go over how your agent is killing those deals. First thing that an agent will do that will kill a deal is inexperience. So if the agent is putting a short expiration or doesn't necessarily know what to do because they've never done a multi-offer situation, So you really need to make sure that you are dealing with somebody that knows what they're doing, does a lot of transactions, and understands the market, and has a great relationship with the listing agent too. That's a huge thing right there. So making sure that you have an experienced agent is extremely important. So the second thing that your agent is doing that is probably killing your deals is an incomplete form. Yeah, when they present the form, maybe they forget to put a date, or they forget to put the address at the top, or maybe they didn't put the listing agent's information at the top. Who knows? But that is a really big thing to do, is that it's not a clean form. So the selling agent knows that they're either gonna have to counter, or they're gonna have to write an addendum or do anything like that. So it just adds more paperwork, and it's just really, really tough for agents, or it's not really tough. It's more of just annoyance when agents don't fill out the forms correctly. The third thing that your agent is doing that is killing your deals is fail to read the instructions. Alrighty, everybody, your agent has to understand that the seller is determining everything. And if your agent is telling you, oh, we're gonna give a short response time and everything, and then do this and that is an agent who is killing your deals. They are not listening to the seller and what they want. Remember, you have to work together, already? So the fourth thing that an agent is doing that is killing your deals is they are not talking to the listing agent. They are not communicating with them. They are not letting them know, hey, I just sent you an offer. Already, here you go. Or maybe talking to that agent, asking questions, getting to know them. A question that I always ask the selling agent is that, hey, how many offers are we going against? And then the agent is not obligated to answer, but you never know. You never know what the seller has allowed the listing agent to tell you. Having an agent that is making sure that they're communicating to the other side is extremely important. The fifth and last thing that an agent is doing that is killing your deals is being too aggressive or condescending. We actually had an agent in our brokerage who, this was her first time doing a multi-offer situation, and the agent on the other side was being super condescending to her, like saying, oh, have you ever done this before, blah, 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 blah. How do you think that that's gonna start off the offer? Very negative. And as the listing agent and the buyer agent are working together, it needs to be a team. Y'all need to be working together to get to what we call the closing table, everybody. This is not some like fist fight where, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta undercut them, blah, blah, blah. No, okay? Do we need to make sure that we are getting our clients the best offer? Of course, but we also need to make sure that we are following the code of ethics and working together hand in hand. Alrighty, that is it for this video. I hope you found it very informative, and I hope it showed you some of the mistakes that you have been doing in not winning multi-offer situations. I hope you'll have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, or if you want me to go over a certain topic, please let me know in the comment section below, and y'all have a great day. Bye.